If you've been following my recent international travel journey, you may have seen me spend a day exploring New York City for free, kind of, by taking advantage of this specific travel hack. In this video, we're headed to, you guessed it, Edinburgh, Scotland, on a long layover from Reykjavik, Iceland. And make sure to stick around to the end of the video where I'll show you exactly how I managed to make this travel hack work for a handful of different cities. I'm in Scotland, headed into Edinburgh city centre on the bus. I feel like I'm cheating a little on this long layover excursion because I've already taken this journey in the past. In February of 2020, I spent a couple of weeks in Scotland that included some time in the city of Edinburgh and a guided backpacking trip in the Scottish Highlands. Transit to and from the city centre is convenient and inexpensive using the double-decker bus system.
International Conference Centre. Next stop, Princess Street.
It's 1:30 p.m. I've been dropped off in the city center by the bus, and I gotta go check my luggage first thing. It is so crowded here, and it's about 80 degrees, so yeah, feeling a little claustrophobic. So I'm pretty much just gonna wander around. To be honest, I'm feeling incredibly tired today. My flight is at 9:40 this evening, so I'm definitely not gonna wait until that late. The city is super busy, and this little coffee shop that I went to back in 2020 last time I was here, that was just like so quaint and charming and calm, is now an absolute madhouse. I'm assuming they just blew up on social media. They don't allow photography in there anymore. I don't know if I have the courage to do that, but that seems pretty fun. They seem like they're having a blast. This is where I'm sitting, by the way, Advocates Close. It's like one of the walkways that connects the streets of the city. The city is so cool. Actually, one of the best things to do here is to just walk around, in my opinion. It just seems so ancient. Edinburgh rose from Castle Rock, a volcanic stronghold that grew into Scotland's capital. Its medieval old town unfurled down the Royal Mile, where towering tenements crowded together, creating one of Europe's most dramatic skylines. Narrow passageways, called closes, threaded between the buildings, guiding people through hidden courtyards and bustling markets. At the city center stood St. Giles, founded in the 12th century and dedicated to St. Giles, protector of the poor. St. Giles blends centuries of style, its medieval core framed by soaring Gothic arches, intricate stained glass, and ribbed vaulting. The crown-shaped spire, added in the 15th century, remains one of Edinburgh's most distinctive landmarks. Although referred to as a cathedral, it's technically a Presbyterian church belonging to the Church of Scotland, but it is Edinburgh's high church.
distinct events were happening in the city to add to the hustle and bustle of typical dates. The Edinburgh Festival Fringe, which is the world's largest art festival, was on. Taking place every August and running for about 3 weeks, this open access festival, meaning anyone can perform, started in 1947 and draws millions of visitors from around the world.
I'm joking. Okay, but unlike a juggling throw,
One of the liabilities of last minute travel, like I am apt to do, is that you might miss out on tickets for popular events, special occasions, things like that. And special occasions, what? Like, for example, I have been to Edinburgh twice and I've never been to the castle. I would really like to go to the Edinburgh castle. I wanted to go to the castle. Those tickets were sold out for the time that I was going because I had a very limited window. Obviously, this is a long layover trip. It means that I didn't stay the night there. I was just left the airport during the day for a handful of hours, explored, and then went back to the airport and resumed my travel. I also would have really liked to see the Scottish military tattoo, which was actually occurring during this time in August. August is a very active time in Edinburgh, apparently. There was a lot going on, and I really had no idea. I booked this trip like 72 hours before I took it, so I was just there out exploring, which I think long layovers are really good to just catch the vibe of a city. Yes, if you are an advanced planner, you can book a long layover in advance and potentially book, tickets for certain sightseeing events or things like that. If there's like a specific thing you'd really like to do in a city and you happen to book a long layover for that, and you can, get the tickets or arrange to see that one specific thing, that's an awesome way to do it. And in a minute, I'm going to show you exactly how I search for these, find these kind of long layover opportunities and book them. But first, I want to warn you of a couple of things that you really need to heed these warnings first. Do not, and I mean do not, just find a long layover and get excited and book it. You really need to take a handful of things into consideration before you book it. So don't click away from this video until I tell you of what those things are. Number one, do you need a visa to go to that country? Even if it isn't your final destination, if you intend to leave a certain section of the airport and you don't have a visa, you could be in trouble. So I actually, for the first time, had to book a visa to the UK. When I traveled there before, a visa was not required. And so I had to get an approved visa, and this was a short turnaround, but I was able to get it done. They use a company called Sherpa, or it's called Sherpa, that you have to apply for the visa through. So that was a little bit of extra effort that I had to go through when I was going through the booking process, and I sure was just crossing my fingers that I would get approved in time. And I was approved in about 24 hours. But that's something to consider. Any country that you're going to, look and see what the visa process is before you book that trip, even if you are just traveling through. If you intend to leave the airport, you're going to need to have the proper documentation. Another thing to consider is, what are the hours of the layovers? I see a lot of really fun, exciting long layovers when I'm sort of just scrolling around looking for flights and travel. But most of the time, those layovers are happening somewhere between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And for me, I have absolutely no interest in doing that. I want to go out into city and explore and feel safe and be, while the businesses are open. I'm not trying to go out and just like look for a club and party or whatever. So yeah, definitely check and consider what those hours are. What are the hours of public transportation or whatever methods of transportation you plan on using? Take those things into consideration before booking a long layover somewhere. Also, now that I'm mentioning transportation, look and see how far the airport actually is from the areas that you're interested in visiting. In some places, a city airport, actually a lot of times a city airport of a specific city, is 45 minutes to an hour away from the city center. Some places have pretty direct, affordable transit, public transit, mass transit, trains, buses, things like that. But some places it's far more complicated. For example, when I booked my long layover through New York City, it was easy for me to get into the city center, into Manhattan, from the airport I arrived at, which was JFK, I think. I'm having trouble remembering now, but that was easy. That was just an Amtrak train ride straight into the city. But for me to get to my departure airport was a little bit more, not necessarily complicated, but it took a little bit more research. There was a specific bus that I needed to take at a specific time. There wasn't like continuous trains, continuous buses, things like that. So just take that into consideration. There are a number of cities I visited, such as Copenhagen, Denmark. Super easy. It was very, very affordable, in and out of the airport via a train. And that's going to be the case a lot of places, but you might use a resource such as Google Maps and just click on the transit. It's going to give you an idea of what the cost is and what the time frame of that mass transit option is. You can also use private ride shares, but keep in mind, not all countries, in fact, many countries don't use apps such as Uber. They have maybe something different, but you're going to want to download that ahead of time and get to know what it is, create an account and stuff like that ahead of time, so you're not wasting time on your long layover. When you're there, you're going to want to factor in the amount of time that it's going to take you to get through the airport. On international flights, you're going to need to go through passport control, customs. A lot of that is going to probably take, I would say, like at least an hour buffer on that. And then on the other end, you're gonna have to go back through security. So you might want to research typical wait times for security. And then international flights usually require at least 1 hour of boarding time. So boarding will begin 1 hour prior to the flight departure on most international flights. So just subtract that from your overall layover time. 10 hours layover is a really comfortable time, especially if you're new at this. I think spending about 5 to 6 hours exploring a city is a good amount of time. So 10 hours leaves plenty of buffer on the each end of navigating the airport and getting to the city. But I have done this before. As I mentioned, I've done this in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I think I only had about a 6-hour layover during that, and that was definitely sufficient amount of time for that particular situation. I also tend not to check luggage, so that expedites my process a little bit, just having hand luggage. Speaking of luggage, even if you do check your bag, a lot of times if you're doing this sort of long layover thing, your bag is not going to automatically go to your final destination. You're going to have to reclaim your bag. You're going to have to go through customs with it. So even if you check your bag, you're going to end up with your bag in hand. So do a little research ahead of time, find a place where you can store your luggage. Some airports seem to have it, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be more expensive than if you were to bring your bag with you closer to the city and drop it off. Nowadays, pretty much every city that I go into has a place that you can store luggage. I've been using a service called Bounce recently. You can find it online. I'm sure they have an app you can download. I didn't download the app. I just booked it online and downloaded my confirmation. And there are places like gift shops, and I've done it at a hotel front desk a couple times. I've done it at a cafe. Even in this Edinburgh video, it was at a cafe where they stored my bag. So it's a business that operates primarily as another business, but since they have space, they're using this luggage storage as an option to, earn more income for their business. And it's really helpful for travelers that are looking for a place to store a bag, because it's actually quite affordable. And my last tip is that some airports might have amenities that you want to use. It might surprise you to hear that there are showers at some major airports. So that's something you can sort of look up online ahead of time. And I think in some cases you can even book a slot ahead of time for a shower, which would be a really nice thing to have if you're out traveling all day. I mean, you've already had one flight, you go into a city, you're on mass transit, you're traveling all day, and maybe you're about to get onto an overnight flight or something and you want to feel clean and comfortable. So booking a shower might be something to do. Not all airports have that available though. So I would definitely recommend just bringing, a clean pair of clothes that you want to change into, and bringing some body wipes just so you can take like a little wipe down shower and just feel fresh and clean, and make sure that you're a pleasant plane passenger for your neighbors and stuff like that after being out and exploring all day, it's just gonna feel really good to freshen up like that. So just a little tip with that.
Oddly scrolling Skyscanner is one of my hobbies. I feel compelled to know how much it costs to go from any place in the world to another place in the world at any given amount of time, or the cheapest place to go from any other place. Let me know if this is a weird obsession of yours as well. But Expedia is also the other website I use, and this has a search feature that makes it kind of easy to narrow this down. We're searching departure, destination, and then looking for the longest way to get there. First thing, I'm looking at Seattle to Bergen, Norway. Just pick some random things, picked a random date. This is all just to show you what I do. This is going to give us a long layover Seattle, but it comes in at 5 p.m. It departs at 3:45. It's not terrible timing. You could still go out to dinner. You could spend some time during the day, but you are going to have to pay for a hotel overnight. To me, that's not worth it. Next thing up, we have a multiple leg flight from Salt Lake City again to Bergen, Norway, and we have a 21-hour layover in Helsinki. That's pretty interesting to me. You will need a hotel here once again, or maybe just leave in the airport. Don't know what the rules are at that particular airport, but not super appealing because the price went up considerably. The point of this is to try to squeeze in a cool destination, a cool long layover to go do something and really spend a negligible amount of money more. So I'm trying a different approach here. I'm New York to Rome, going to find a cheap date. It's $129. Mind you, that probably doesn't include anything, like probably not even water for that price. It's $20.25. You got to pay for everything on flights nowadays. Right away, I'm seeing that the prices went up considerably, so I'm abandoning that search. That's not interesting to me. Down Los Angeles to Tokyo, we've got another long layover in Seattle. And again, it's just not great, not worth it to me. If you really wanted to go to Seattle, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that was a pretty decent price still. It didn't bump up the price too much. Here is a long layover in Manila. Again, you will need a hotel for this one. I'm not finding any like of the 10-hour layovers, but that one wasn't a terrible. Yeah, that one wasn't terrible. I kind of like that one. The long layover in Manila. Look at the price on this one. Yeah, no, might as well book a flight to Dubai and then a separate flight. Okay, here we've got a long layover in Shanghai, 14 hours, 35 minutes in Shanghai. You get in 6 p.m., it's already 7 more, plus you need a visa for China. Not going to be worth it. This one, the fare jumped up big time, but this is kind of the one I was looking for when I was thinking LAX to Japan was hopefully a long layover in Hawaii. So that's something I would definitely play around a little bit with the dates if that was my specific itinerary that I was looking for, and try to get that long layover in Oahu on a good date for a decent price. All right, skipped over to Skyscanner here. We're looking for that 28-hour layover. The cheapest flight was actually just a 14-hour layover, but I can scroll down and see what the options are. From Charles de Gaulle, so Paris to, I think, Seattle. I'm looking at a long layover in Calgary. It's 21 hours. This one intrigued me with the long layover in Dublin, but actually the long layover is in London. London, you're going to have to stay overnight in a hotel. It's going to be really expensive, and you have to pay extra to fly out of London to Heathrow, I believe. Plus, you need a visa. Visa's like $25, not a big deal. Anyway, I don't think we found any real winners with this search, but this is just how I do it. Again, if you have a specific, destination in mind, departure, then try checking the dates once you're seeing some of those long layover options. Play around with the dates a little bit if you can and see if you can get that price down, and that's just the way I do it.
Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Let me know if this is something you're daring enough to try down in the comments, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care.